Keeping with the theme of the keyboard industry right now, in this video, I want to share my thoughts on what I think is a well-balanced premium magnetic keyboard, the EZ63 by IQUNIX. In the interest of full disclosure, IQUNIX did send me this keyboard at my request. However, they had no say in the video's content, so what follows is my best attempt to highlight what I like and perhaps don't like about the EZ63. That said, let's get into it. The EZ63 is a part of the EZ lineup from IQUNIX, seated as the bigger brother to the aero-clusterless EZ60, but smaller than the anticipated EZ75 that's expected to arrive sometime around Q2 of 2025. Presently, you can pick up the EZ63 in one of two colors, this black, white, gray, and blue version that I have, or a white and pink version. Though again, more options are expected, with IQUNIX planning to release all white and silver versions later in February. Currently, there are 3 switch options on this black and blue version, which cause the price to range from $179 to $219 USD, depending on which you choose, with the pink version ranging from $229 to $249. So this is fairly expensive, but its $179 starting price is right around that of the Wooting 60HE Plus, while offering more configurations and, importantly, having an all-aluminum construction compared to an ABS case. Oh, and it's worth noting that the EZ63 comes with a hard-shell travel case that has a few internal compartments useful for transporting the included curled cable, some OS-specific keycaps for Windows and Mac, as well as a pretty premium keycap and switch puller, and a telescoping key brush. You know, because snacks happen. Overall, I think the EZ63 is a smart-looking keyboard, striking a good balance between being understated enough to look like it belongs just about anywhere, but with a splash of more unique styling in the CNC'd sides that give a glimpse of the internal construction. As I mentioned, the entire case is CNC'd out of aluminum and is finished with either an electroplating or anodized process, depending on the component color. To the touch, this is one of the smoothest finishes I've ever felt on a case, far outpacing the likes of Keychron's Q series. The keycaps are double-shot PBT with a nice slim cherry profile and large crisp alpha characters that are offset to the top left. This is complemented by smaller all-caps peripheral key lettering. All in all, they're nicely legible, durable, and the sculpting complements the fixed tilt angle of 6.5 degrees. Though I would recommend pairing it with a palm rest for additional comfort. My EZ63 came with the more expensive Gateron Magnetic Jade Pro switches, so I can't comment on any of the other options, but having tried these in a few magnetic keyboards now, they're quickly becoming a solid option for pre-builts like this because they're very smooth right out of the box, and I really don't have any complaints. Beneath the switches, we find south-facing RGB backlights to accommodate the lower cherry keycaps. These reflect pretty well off of the aluminum plate and have been bright enough for my environment, and they come pre-configured with 44 backlight effects, as well as a finer hue control than most keyboards that I've tried, which is nice. However, I'll note that a few of the backlight effects are currently locked to preset blue to green color palettes, presumably to complement the color theme of this keyboard. I also ran into a few effects that didn't support dimming, but I suspect this could be fixed through firmware updates. And all of the backlight controls that I wanted weren't available in the default key map, so I did have to do some remapping to get it how I want it. Overall, the branding on the EZ63 is well done, a little understated from the user's perspective, which I like. Along with a functionless blue aluminum panel on the backside, there's a couple of logos near the top right corner of the keyboard, and the IQUNIX branding on this blue daughter board housing that's attached to the underside of the keyboard. This is probably a good time to mention that this is a wired-only keyboard, as the emphasis is on gaming, offering a polling rate of 8,000 Hz and a latency that's theoretically 0.125 milliseconds. This separate daughter board housing implementation is kind of neat, as it keeps the internal structure compact and uniform, while the main body of the keyboard floats pretty high above the desk because of how the legs are integrated into the case sides. Really though, I think the standout feature of this case design is its intricate housing enclosure. Unlike most keyboards I've reviewed, where the top case encloses everything in a hollowed out base, the EZ63 separates its case into 5 components: the forward side pieces and the bottom panel, all of which are made of aluminum. This has the benefit of allowing the user to loosen and adjust the machine screws on either end of the keyboard to ensure that the keyboard is level on your desk, but also makes it more complex and a bit precarious to disassemble because there are more parts and connections. This does give a pretty clear shot of the internal structure though, where we can find the silicone gasket mounted system that has a single layer of pour-on foam between the aluminum plate and the PCB, and another tightly sandwiched under the PCB, and that's it. Like most magnetic keyboards I've seen, there are no switch pads between the Hall effect sensors and the switches, and there's a general focus on creating a stiffed construct to avoid flex altering the actuation point readings. That said, let's have a listen. Overall, aside from a bit of rattle on the enter key that I should probably tune, I think the EZ63 has a pleasant sound signature right out of the box. Its aluminum plate and stiff housing give it a higher end, more clacky sound, but it's a bit quieter than I expected, perhaps because of how tight the internal structure is. The Gateron Magnetic Jade Pro's linear 36 to 50 gram force operation also gives it a very smooth feel that's quite quick to actuate, though you can tune that using the company's web app configurator. To make the most of the extra features offered by the analog Hall effect sensors, you have to use the company's proprietary web app. Here, you have access to key remapping across a total of 10 layers, so lots of room for customization. And all of the standard keys that I could think to look for, like media playback, lighting, and mouse options, are present. Then, under the performance section, we can adjust which switch we're using and the actuation point, which is currently available in 50 micron increments. Alternatively, you could opt for the rapid trigger configurations, which allow you to independently control the press and release increments after passing a set actuation threshold. Or dive into the more advanced settings like continuous rapid trigger. Here, you'll eventually be able to tune these values in increments as fine as 10 microns, but that's still in development while I'm making this video. Moving to the Pro Keys section, you have the ability to configure Snap Tap, with 4 modes to fine-tune how you want the keyboard to handle overlapping key presses. I'm told that Mod Tap and other advanced functions like dynamic keystroke are also planned for the future. Beyond this, you also get access to standard lighting controls to tune the keyboard backlight, as well as a testing module. And interestingly, IQUNIX has opted to include some Pro configurations that, with a single click, change your keyboard settings to align with select professional gamers. This is kinda neat, and something I haven't seen before on magnetic configurators from Keychron or Newfie. All things considered, the IQUNIX web app configurator is pretty solid. It's not yet as feature-rich as the offerings from Keychron or Newfie, notably missing is any kind of macro compatibility, but what is available is intuitive and functional, so I'm confident that they're on the right path. After about a month and a half of using the EZ63, I've really come to like this magnetic keyboard. The styling and unique case design are pretty neat, and it feels exceptionally smooth and quick, so I think its primary gaming audience will be quite happy. I did run into a few issues getting used to the compact 64 key layout for productivity work though, because the 1U super button that functions as the right shift kept throwing off my fingers, which are used to the much larger shift keys on 75% keyboards. Aside from this though, while it is a bit pricey, I think the all aluminum case and ultra fine finish along with the included hardshell carrying case and accessories, make this a competitive offering. Even better if you use my affiliate link below to save 5% on your purchase while supporting this channel. But what do you think? Do you have experience with the EZ lineup from IQUNIX, or is there something else that you think's better for your use case? Let me know using the comments below. Otherwise, if you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.